Well, Pete, welcome to Talking Sports once again, where we're going to figure out what the deal is with decaf. It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know, people, they drink it. I think some people can't drink caffeine and they like to get the experience of coffee, which
I mean, I like the
makes
smell.
some sense, I guess, but defeats the purpose altogether.
Well, here at the Valley Town Crier Edinburgh Review and whatever else we're called, we have no coffee today. So if you're looking for that ubiquitous cup, that's a problem. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be off my game, but I mean, just a minor problem. Man. We can move on from that.
We can. And I guess let's get right into it. Should we start with basketball?
I think basketball is a good place to start. There's a lot of action going on.
There
It's going to be
is.
an interesting night tonight, Tuesday night.
There is, who can you ask for? I mean, Bears and PSG North play. They've got a good game going on.
That's the game of the weekend, or game of the day in 31.
Exactly. Warriors, they've got San Benito.
Over there, but they're going to beat them pretty good, I think. You would imagine, Roe. Now, just for the record, let's just go back and talk about last week for a second. We said that, or he said that you have to score 60 to beat Roe. And how many did they score against PSG?
They scored 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and of course, my point was that PSG has two great players, and they need help from other people. And they got help from no other people, and so they lost by, what, 11?
Yeah.
60 to 49, I think?
Yeah, something like that.
Reasonable.
Okay, what happened was they were playing, and then Luis Macias, who had a great game, by the way, who's probably PSA's one of the best players.
I think
on
he's
that
one of the
team.
best. First team in the Valley, I think. He's
I was
amazing.
about to say that as well. He had 23. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Smooth, man.
But, he would get double teamed sometimes, and, Rowe figured him out. I was talking to Coach Yebra. He was like, we've had experience with him before to where we double team him, man.
Yeah, man. Run somebody at him.
You double team the best player on the other team, and if it's efficient, you're going to get some play out of it.
And if he gets rid of the ball and the kid who gets it is like this, that's a good thing for you. Yeah. On defense.
Now, something to note in that game, in the fourth quarter, about 5 minutes left, Coach Yebra pulled his starters.
Yeah.
And the depth on Rowe's team, they're still learning. I mean, I think if they would get more play during the regular season,
And they will, I think.
I think so too. But they kind of let PSG back in. PSG got within 11.
Yeah.
So with 2 minutes left, it's like a line change in hockey.
Whoa, okay. We thought we were doing good, and there going the big guys.
It was, I wrote in my notes line change, because I was just like, well, like the NHL. But anyway,
Baylor does that too. They're bringing five new guys.
But once the stars were back in, it was pretty much a breeze.
Well, it's a quality team, man. There's no doubt about it, man. They, like I said last week, they're going to have to work on things like that, like developing depth. Those are the ancillary things that once you have the best team, then you'll spend the district slate working on things like that.
Yeah.
Who knows whether they'll go undefeated? Very few teams have done it. Let's just worry about this week and this game and let Road take care of their business. But right now, they're obviously.
And both teams were talking about that. Talking to the coach for the Bears, he was, we just got to get back. This game already happened. It's over, and we just got to get ready for North.
And now they got North. Now, North is a team that is kind of young, but they've got some exciting players. Ruben Munoz has been scoring a lot for them. PSG needs to win this game because the Raiders are not bad, although they did get beat by McAllen, I know, by 3.
So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's definitely probably a game I'll check out tonight. I'm not going to San Benito.
No, I don't think that. Now, McAllen, coming off that win against the Raiders, they play East, and I think they can win that game. Because East has lost to PSG North, a team that McAllen has beaten. So you hold serve if you're McAllen, and you show that you are actually one of those teams that are going to make the playoffs. Hey, Oscar Rahel had a good game.
And you need that, like you were saying earlier, because you want to be known as that second or third team.
Yeah. Now's the time to start proving it week by week.
Unfortunately, I really don't like saying this, but it's the truth. Until somebody beats Rowe, I really don't see who's going to do it.
Right,
Until somebody proves me wrong or proves everybody else wrong, you know. And I'll be gladly to say that team proved me wrong. But, everybody's playing for second.
Rowe is one of the better 5A teams we've had in some time, I think. Are they any better or worse than those Edinburgh High teams that went to the regional tournament? I'm not sure. They're bigger.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, they're one of the biggest teams we've had down here. And they're not huge, but across the board, there's no little tiny guys really. Now, a few, but
Rudy Campos had 9 blocks.
I love Rudy Campos. That guy's a really, really good player. He does a little bit of everything. Yeah. He passes the ball, he blocks shots, and he can score. Didn't you say he scored a bunch of points right off the bat?
He got 10 out of 13, called timeout. You're just like, well, what are we going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Oscar Castillo is a forward. He's not really a post. Yeah. And Mancias is a guard, so they don't have nobody inside to match up with him. Or Allen, or anybody.
And it showed because he had 9 blocks in the game.
9 blocks, that's a ton.
That's a lot, yeah.
That's a ton. McAllen at East should win the game. PSJ North, PSJ, that's the most important game of the week, or of the day. Rose San Benito, and then Memorial has a bye. Memorial hasn't scored a ton in its 2 wins, but it's 2-0 in district, and I think it's looking good right now.
What else could you ask for? I mean, everybody's chasing you. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So that's what you want in the game. And, you know, I think with the practice, like we've been saying, their tests, I think, will come down the stretch, maybe after the holiday, when things really start shaping up. You'll really see who that Memorial team is.
And that's when they got to break off about 5 or 6 wins against these teams that really ain't that good. It's not, from top to bottom, it's not the toughest district this year, so Memorial could be the team to climb up there and be that number 2. Although don't count out Mac Allen. I think Ron Hell and Deion Ellis, they got some guys starting to put the ball in the goal, so we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting when Mac plays Memorial. And is that Friday?
Mac Memorial.
Or next week?
No, it's next week.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Memorial played on Fridays.
That's going to be a good thing. All right, now, as far as the boys, 35A, have to start out with the Edinburgh North Cougars, man, because they pulled off a big one over at that CE Vale tournament. Fantastic.
Buzzer beater.
A buzzer beater, Jonathan
What
Ramos.
can you ask for, man?
Yeah,
Come
man.
in the game.
Harlingen South. Now, keep in mind that the further I get from the day of the game, I think to myself, now, wait a minute, South was missing 2 really good starters. I mean, so in other words, it was a great comeback and a great effort, but that was not South at full strength. That tells you how good South is because they played a heck of a game, man. They had North's number for the first half. They nailed 13 threes in that game, man. Nick Garcia, the football player, was on fire. He gets that ball up here and he shoots and like that, man. He doesn't need much room at all from the corner. Bang, 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 and you can't take the ball from him. See, that's the thing about the game is North couldn't play its defense and transition game, okay?
Gotcha.
What they like to do is take the ball from you, press you get a bunch of layups, you get a 10-point lead.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that against South. Not even close in the first half. Now, they were probably in better shape and they had more depth, and that was one of the reasons why they won. Brian Beltran had a great second half, but Ramos the man, as I said, because he had 24 points. He was taking it to the goal, man. Him and Grant Preciado for South were hitting each other. I swear to God, I thought they were going to have a fist fight. Because Preciado, and this, I'm going to try to keep this on a very positive note. I've not seen a player in some time that talks as much on the court as Grant does. Absolutely, man. He is a handful, to say the least. But he went up and threw down a dunk in that game that was ridiculous. And it wasn't one of these almost dunks, man. He took off from right outside the lane and just flushed it. It was amazing. It was a great dunk. And people went berserk at La Feria. That tournament, by the way, 32 teams, it's a great tournament.
That was a very large tournament. I mean, it's one of the oldest in the valley.
82 years. In fact, their first CE Vale was in 1931. What do you think of them, Michael?
That's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, when they shot like this. I'll tell you how long ago it was. At the first CE Vale tournament, it was not called that, it was called the La Feria Letterman's Association tournament. They had a center jump after every made basket in 1931. That's the rules. Until 1937, every time you made a point, you had a center jump at the middle of the court. I know, it's incredible to think about. That's how long ago it was.
How do you get in a rhythm like that?
Oh, you don't, but they couldn't shoot anyway back then. Horrible. The shooting percentage was like 15, 20, 25%. Anyway, now North has Palmview. Palmview is a team that is really not that bad. They've been good the last couple of years. They're a little shaky right now, but North needs to be ready at home.
Got you. I think I could see North being ready at home after that. I mean, you're on a run. You can just take that.
They were so excited, man.
You know what I mean?
You don't get them type of
You're
games
hot.
beat.
You might as well
Right.
take it and run with it.
Exactly. You don't get that type of celebration very often. I mean, the kind where it's just the ball goes up. Of course, it was tied, so it wasn't like they weren't going to overtime. But I mean, you get that 3, it's over, and everybody went berserk, and boy, South was super pissed. There was a lot of talking in that game back and forth, and this is my editorial comment. I think that I didn't particularly care for the tenor of the behavior of the groups. I know it wasn't bad, but I felt like, I don't know, there was a little too much talking, a little too much negativity. And
well, like we were saying before we came on, it's almost become more of a playground atmosphere.
Playground ball, playground style. Nobody runs the offense, that whole critique.
But, I mean, so you're going to get that in ball at the playground because there's nobody around to really...
I think that they're watching too much TV and they're trying to act like the guys that are big timers.
Yeah.
And sometimes those guys may be great players, but their attitudes aren't what you'd like on a high school team. So, and I'm not mentioning any names, I'm just saying that I thought that it bordered on being kind of ugly at times, and I just didn't want to see that. What do I know? I mean, hey, I could be an old stick in the mud. Anyway, Donna and Vela, let me tell you about Vela in this tournament. They did a good job. They got to the third place game and they won it. They've scored 80 points, I think, 6 times now. Those guys get up and down the court, and like I said, they run 5 guys in and 5 guys out, and 5 guys in every 2 or 3 minutes, and the other team's like, God, they got 7 kids. Their depth is among the best in the valley. They got 12 kids who can play.
Donna's on a run, though. I mean, 7-2 the last 9. I mean, but like you were saying, they haven't won in district.
Yeah, their district is over too.
That's what matters, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean,
They're capable.
They are. They beat Hidalgo, and
Yep, they did. They're capable. They got Anthony Gonzalez back at the point, who was a great wide receiver. George Garcia is an amazing scorer. They're a dangerous team. I feel like I want to see them play pressure games and run the offense. I don't know if they can do that, but if you let them get out and start acting crazy, they'll score 30 points.
That's going to be their test right there, Vela.
Yeah, I think it's a good test for them. They come off a good tournament. They're playing at home. They cannot lose to Dunn. You cannot let that happen. EHS at Sharyland used to be, that was one of the best games in the Valley every year. Oh, absolutely. They play in the Diamondback, and maybe the Craig Smith, and then they play non-district. Fantastic for both teams to get that kind of playoff rhythm started. EHS is struggling. They've lost the first two, and Sharyland, meanwhile, scored 90 and 82 in its two district games. This could be, if EHS has come ready to play, they will get killed. And so, at this point in time, you just got to play better. And they can. There's a lot of guys in the I have many times. Andrew Cantu has yet to be able to get on track because he's too busy trying to facilitate for everybody, which is what you do. He was the only returning person. Those other kids got to step up and hit shots. I've been enthusiastic about Ulises Resendez, number 30. He's a pretty aggressive player, man. He ain't that tall, but he plays taller. He'll score some, and he's starting to shoot. Alex Martinez has hit some threes that I've seen recently. He can play. Justin Salinas, little skinny kid, he's had a couple of games, 18, 19, 20. They've all got to play better, and they can. And it will be a great night for them to say, we're not dead in the water, and put a good effort on against Sharyland on the road. Whether they do or not, it remains to be seen. I refuse to write off the Bobcats at this point, even though what I wrote this week that you'll see, I didn't like to necessarily phrase it that way. I was not trying to be unkind, but I mean...
But you brought up the points that needed to be brought up.
Well, things are changing in town, and right now EHS needs to have some pride and say, wait a minute, oh yeah? Well, let's see this, and let's put a great game on the board against Sharyland.
Because the old EHS building is coming alive in that town.
Yeah, it is. Holy cow, Vela's tough, man. Vela North, we're going to talk about Vela North girls, Vela North boys next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a great game.
It is. So.
And then Econ has the bye. They're still hanging tough, man. They're scoring some points, 71, 65, or 74 against La Jolla, 60-something against Sharyland. They can score.
Yeah.
They got to figure out how to play as a team better and make their layups and free throws, as I say it every week. But they're not a team you can take lightly, nor is Dunn.
We'll see what happens. We're going into vacation, not us, but the schools are.
No, you're kidding. We don't have coffee, no vacation. We're like the Hebrew slaves, make bricks without straw. Next week. No, I'm kidding. We love our place. It's great.
But there'll still be games.
Of course.
There's going to be games, so you should people should get out there and watch.
New Year's Eve, I think, is Sharyland North boys. I got to double check that, but that's going to be a heck of a struggle right there. Let's go to the girls now. In the McAllen district, PSJ Memorial at Weslaco. PSJ Memorial did find a way to upset McAllen. McAllen, after that 3-0 starts, now 3-2. They got to get back together, and they play East. Now, East is tricky, Pete.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right.
No, well, I was going to say, Ashley Martinez had a great game in that game, and so did Savannah, but it was just their first district win. I don't know. How does Mac High bounce back from that? I mean, they're still the drivers.
Of course they are. They got to bounce back, though, because and East is going to be hard. East is a very fundamentally sound team that walks it up and runs the offense. They got Michelle Marquez, who's a good player. They've given up 22 points a game in 4 district games. They don't give up a lot. And that's a bad matchup because McAllen don't score a lot. They scored 33 in both the losses last week, and they've got to get more production.
They really do need more production because
much more.
But still having one player
gotta
score
right, yeah, I know, that's no good.
That's not.
You got to get to the 40s.
Yeah.
You got to get to the 40s because East will probably not get to the 40s. That's the thing. They cannot score either. So, I mean, if you happen to have a good shooting game, you can win that game. Yeah. And they need to win. Rose, San Benito, Rose got to win a game too. And you know what? For a team that I think is 1-4, I really feel like the talent in that team will start to assert itself. They're not a 1-4 team.
I would see that also. I've seen them play a couple of times, and they just had some bad breaks. And what can you do? They
got a kid who can stick the jumper. They got Maida in the middle. They got their little Dominique Spears. I mean, they got some players. It's time for them to turn it around because 1-5 is sounding like you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
But 2-4 is like okay. Then you win 2 out of 3, and you're 4-5. You're there. But you cannot lose this game.
Get to 500. I think you'll make it in this district.
Oh, I think you will too. Memorial's got the bye. It's been a tough struggle right now for the Lady Mustangs. I hadn't expected it. I thought they were going to be a little better.
Yeah.
There's still time, but they have not really played that well again.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens this week. I don't know. Get out to one of them at least.
Oh, for sure. Now, the 35A girls race is looking really interesting, man, because Sharyland, Vela, and North are right there. EHS is on the outskirts, and Economides is making a run too. Well, there's like 6 good teams in that district.
It's going to boil down to the district play, and what can you ask for? What else can you ask for?
Well, it ain't like the Row boys. None of these teams have stood out as that much better than the other. It's looking good. Sharyland has Donna over there. The Sharyland girls have had a nice start, man. They're doing fine. And so much for all those graduation losses. They're playing well. Got a couple of big kids, and they got Ruiz, and they got the guards have started to come around. People that we hadn't heard of, but they're making their plays. They're doing fine. Donna's another one of those dangerous teams. Lexi Williams, man, she's another temperamental player. I watch her play, and I can see her emoting. I mean, she's a very open-faced sandwich, as they used to say. But she can score, man.
That's cool.
She can score. So Sharyland Donna's good.
I like Vela for some reason. I don't know. I'm just maybe it's all the hype or whatever. Not that it's hype. I'm not saying that maybe hype.
Hype is in publicity and buzz.
It's buzz. But I'm liking Vela. You're gonna get that feeling deep down inside. You're like, this team might.
Yeah, they could win the district.
Yeah,
They lost to the Jags, but they're 4-1.
Yeah.
Emily Isabel the other day, 34 points. They scored 80 against Donna. They just out-athleted them, man. They're like the boys. Oh, it is in girls. You kidding? Vela's got a lot of kids who can play, and they're going to need that depth because I saw the game the other day, and Jada Muhammad sprained an ankle. I don't know if she's back yet. If she's not, then that means another opportunity for someone else. They'll play 10 or 11 guys. And Isabella's great. I think the key to the win the other day against DHS by 14 was Ariel Rodriguez really played a great game at the point. I mean, they alternate bringing the ball up. When she got the ball, she passed the ball very well. She didn't hit a lot of shots, but she don't have to for them to win it because she's so good with the basketball. Man, she was setting people up right and left and throwing those long baseball passes. I complimented her after the game because I think it was the best game I've seen her play in a long time. And she probably didn't think that I would have said that because she scored 6, but it doesn't matter. As she goes, that team goes. Emily's a wonderful player. Or Danielle, I'm sorry, I said Emily earlier. Danielle is a great player. She had 34 the other night. 34, that's a lot of points. But as Ariel goes, if she does what she can do, then they're that much better a team. I feel like they can win district, but I feel like Sharyland can win it. I feel like North can win it. Let's not get out of this district without talking about North. They're 5-0. Incredible.
Yeah, and like you were saying, they're going undefeated into the bye.
They got the bye, and then they got Vale on Friday. So if you want to see a great basketball game, in my opinion, with a lot of defense, a lot of hustle and athletics, go see Vale and North on Friday. I will certainly be there unless, like I said, I'm bitten by the season fly.